Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 32-year-old or a 32-year-old from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, France, Norway, and Germany. He is another Burlington Cougar, where he ran amok as league MVP and laced up for Canada East that season, earning his way to the Purple Eagles of Niagara before moving on to sunny Oswego in D3, where he went 42-9 over 2 seasons and is a confirmed gamer, being named all-tournament MVP. He then chose to spread his hockey wings at my favorite ski hill in all the world, Morzine, France. He was the starter in Mangelrud, Norway for a season before finding a home in Baden-Württemberg with the Hellbronner Falcons and Ice Baron of Hellbronn. He's been a European scout, a goaltending and assistant coach in Hellbronn and Bietigheim, my old honey holes, and the Ice Pirates of Krimichow. He is still climbing the hockey ladder, folks. He is now assistant coach, goalie coach, and assistant sport manager of one of my favorite DL2 manshafts, the Wolves of Selb, and he is now diving into the world of podcasting. Welcome to my kitchen, Andrew Hare.
Thanks for having me. That was quite the intro. I'm gonna have to top that on mine. Holy.
Yeah, well, I've had like 260 something times to practice, right? So
There you go.
yeah. So I get into how we know each other. You're gonna fire up your own shed, eh? You started a podcast. You had Reds on.
Yeah, I did. We played together in Mangler. That's how I met him, and then he's
Research team
actually on our
found that.
team this
Yeah.
year. Yeah. So yeah, it's always been a passion of mine, and so far one episode down and had a lot of fun. So we'll see how many I can do.
Well, it is fun, man. I had no idea how many I was going to do. I know when I started, I wrote like a list of dudes I would want to chat with. And it's gotten a lot crazier than that list, you know.
It's
didn't
grown
know
a
I was
lot, eh?
gonna didn't know I was gonna beat you. You
That's
know?
true. I guess that's good. That's the hockey world, world of math, and never know who you're gonna meet.
Well, and it's a small world, man. We get talking around. You want to get into how we know each other, even though it's nice to meet you.
Sure, man.
Actually, what's your podcast name? We best talk about it now.
Pro Hockey Pod. So yeah, quick link. Yeah, just I wanted to basically start one just to kind of like you are chat with guys and have them share their story. And I said on there, it doesn't matter if they, played pro in Europe, played NHL. Like it doesn't matter if they just went to college and that's it. Like it's just kind of share their story and kind of what they went through to get to where they were and what they achieved.
Well, and it's interesting since I've been doing mine is the hockey career doesn't matter when it comes to how many people are going to listen and why I do it. I do it for myself and for fun and to make memories with people, right? And like I've had on my under 11 boys and I want to have on my under 9 gals that I coach, and like hockey stories are hockey stories. Doesn't matter what league you're playing in, and the Stanley Cup ain't the only trophy in the league either, right?
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, like everyone has their own story and kind of like their own view on things as well. So when you hear it from different people, I think that can be very entertaining.
Definitely can learn from people around the hockey world. I love it, and I can't wait to pick your brain because I'm into coaching now, and you're into goalie coaching. I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, sometimes I feel the same, but it seems to be working. So
I don't even know how to get the pads on the kids.
all the pads these days, they got Velcro. No, that's got to be easy.
Well, no, not our pads.
Okay.
No. Anyways, okay, how we know each other. Bryce Reddick, your episode 1, your original shed guy. Mine was Dr. Luke Piggott. But I'm sure you guys had a blast. And so he is on your squad, and you're the assistant coach and goalie coach and assistant sport manager.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats. So basically, more the assistant sport manager. So I do a lot of scouting, a lot of office stuff,
So
help around the
I
team.
better clarify. Sports manager, folks, in Germany is basically GM, right?
Yeah. So yeah, in Europe, especially in Germany, they have two. So they have like the general manager and then sport manager, and the sport
Yeah.
manager is more the hockey side. But yeah, so basically for the North Americans listening, it would be GM.
Yeah. And then the GM, they would call it over there. He's more the money business side of things, right?
Yeah, in German it's Geschäftsführer. So
Geschäftsführer. So du sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch, oder?
Ja, ich spreche Deutsch, weil meine Verlobte ist Deutsch. So, my fiance is
Velota,
German.
Velota, is that fiance?
Verlobte.
Velota. So, wenn ich sie dein Frau.
Diese Sommer, wir haben unsere Hochzeit in Juni.
Really? In June, you're getting hitched, eh?
Yeah, man.
Where? Where?
Actually here, so like where I live just outside Heilbronn, there's a nice castle like kilometer behind us. So it's kind of
I,
perfect.
that's my old stomping grounds. What castle in Hellbrown?
Well, I'm actually it's outside. It's really in between Heilbronn and Bietigheim, so directly in the middle. So I'm in Neckar Westheim, or like the bigger city would be like Ilsfeld. So
My old honey hole. I had a lot of fun that area. Some
yeah, it's not.
vineyards around there, then probably.
Oh yeah, tons of vineyards.
Yeah. I got right into wine and Bietigheim. I never really dabbled into it till I got to Bietigheim. Then I really excelled at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you became a pro.
Yeah. Real wine connoisseur, you could say. So but you're also the goalie coach, eh? And
Mhm.
assistant coach.
Yeah, so assistant coach is more when we have like two. So when the first guy is maybe sick or like can't be there, I'll step in. I have in the past done assistant coach in Bietigheim and Krimichow, but here it's more just assistant sport manager and then goalie coach.
So you're probably watching the games up top. You're like one of the suits then, eh? Trying to make guys
Oh,
nervous when they're
I'm
playing.
a suit.
Yeah.
100% I'm a suit.
Oh boy. And you're gonna have a podcast. That's cool, eh?
Yeah,
Nobody's gonna
I'm
get
ex-
mad at you for doing that with all your. I've had like NHL scouts say they won't come on because their teams won't let them, and it's like, why? Like, we're just gonna talk about your career. What does that have to do with anything else, right?
yeah, exactly. That was one of the things I debated on because I was going to talk a lot about like German hockey, like Dell and Dell 2. And then I thought, okay, like that could get me in trouble. So I decided just to keep it to guys telling their stories and what they went through. And
Yeah,
for me, I don't think that should be a problem.
right. And fun is fun, right? And
Yeah,
if you have a passion for something, you should do it, right? And
exactly.
if anybody else wants to start a podcast or a shed in we're in my kitchen today, but I usually do it in my shed and it's way more fun. But anyways, if anybody wants to start one, just let me know and I'll be the first one on because I think this has changed my life for the better. I'm a happier person. Gives me a passion and drive. And if anybody else wants to try, and then you get to compete with me too, right? Right?
Fair enough.
It's gonna be hard to outwork me there, Haresy.
I'm not planning on it. Don't worry.
Yeah, because I do a lot of them. Like this morning, I woke up, I didn't know I was gonna see you, right?
That's true. I got a late message. You know, someone must have bailed or something happened because I got the late
Daughter's
call.
sick. I'm supposed to be watching my son's first game of his tournament right now. I took the day off work to go watch, and then my daughter's sick, and I have to stay home so the wife can go watch meine Frau.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyways, we're home. She's doing better now, but she can't really be there. So I'm stuck here. I thought I'd have fun, right?
Might as well.
Fun is fun. Anyways, other ways we know each other on this hockey squad you're coaching. Arturs Krumnich, Ivan Drago, right?
Yeah, you played with him?
Oh yeah. So I played with him with the Hellbronner Falcons. No, I didn't. Bietigheim, sorry. Bietigheim.
Yeah.
And that was the year we were brutal. But one thing I remember about Arturs was we were playing an exhibition game in Austria, and I'd never seen this in a real hockey game in my life before yet. He went in on a breakaway and picked it up and did the spin-a-rooney with it in the air and flicked it at the net mid-game.
No
First
way.
time I ever saw it. That was in 2000, like 11, folks. He did that. That's a long time ago. Pioneer, right?
Haven't seen that from him this year, but he's definitely one of those guys.
Would you allow him to do that? Would you be upset?
I mean, if he scores, I wouldn't care, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah, he missed the net in the game I was playing.
Okay, well then, I'm sure the coach was a little sour.
I was a little sour. So like, why don't you score? You had a breakaway. Right? Yeah, I'm a bit old school that way though, but I'd never seen that before. So he's still playing and still doing well, eh?
Yeah, no, he's done really well for us this year, assistant captain, and he has a contract with us next season too. So he's still planning on playing, and definitely one of those unique guys. I don't know if he was. I'm sure he was the same when you played with him. Like he's got that head down ability. Like you think he's just going to get crushed because there's no way he can see guys, but then he just makes plays and
he does know they're like coming, and
oh, it's unbelievable. The first practice,
he's a
one of our
big fella,
goalies.
eh?
Yeah, yeah, like he's well built, I think, like in good shape. And I remember the first
Different body
practice.
type than mine, eh? Different body type.
Oh, I don't know, I haven't seen you shirtless, so
Yeah, you don't want to.
but yeah, like the first practice, like one of our goalies came up to us and was like, "This is unbelievable. I don't know what to do because it looks like he's not going to shoot because his head's just down, and then he ends up just sniping." So
Yeah, he's a talented player. Is this his first year there then?
in Celeb, yeah, he was in Dresden last year, so he's been like obviously been playing a long time DL too. So
So who's your head coach, or who do you work for then? Who's hired you? How'd you get this position?
so there's two like Vorstand members, so like board members in English, Thomas Manzai and Jurgen Gully. So I had a meeting with them last year and laid out my plan and what I wanted to help accomplish them with them there. Last season was their first year up from the Overleague, and it was really tough. They had a lot of COVID, so they were playing a lot of games with like 10 guys, which wasn't easy. And then they just didn't have, I don't think it's hard to bring up a good team when you've played so long in the Overliga, like late in the playoffs, because it's hard to sign like Germans and stuff because everyone's already snatched them up for the next season. So
And Germans like finding homes with team, right? Like they like
yeah,
staying in the
exactly.
same place.
Well, that's like we can talk about somebody else there that you played with, my buddy Richie Gelka.
Oh yeah, Richard.
So
He was a Hellbronner Falcon. That's why I got confused. Arturs was Bietigheim. Richard Gelke was Hellbronner. He was just a young pup, eh? Big paws on that puppy, though. Is he
oh
big?
yeah,
He was a big fella, and he was like 18 years old.
he's still the same. He's a truck. I played with him in Hellbron too, and then now he's been in Selb for I think 3 or 4 years now. Like has a place there. So like he's like one of those guys, as you said, that like you would think would want to call Selb home for
Yeah, and then
the
you want to
next
keep
bit.
those guys and keep them happy, right? So then you got a core of good Germans.
Yeah, exactly. And he's our captain too. So he's a
Oh,
good
is
guy.
he
And
all grown up, eh, Richard?
it's a little different. He's 30 now, so like it's crazy
That's
to say that.
crazy, man. That makes me feel so old. Yeah, when I was at Hellbroad, we had the kid line. Him, I called the other guy Igor because he was like Igor Larionov. And then the other guy was Kurtz. Yeah, we had a kid line. They had all the 18-year-olds that came down from Mannheim would all play together. They're
Mhm.
fast little buggers. And then Richard was the up and down the wing, big, strong, heavy shot, eh?
Yeah, he's a workhorse. That's the easiest way to say it. And you need guys like that
Nice
in your
guy,
team.
too. He's a good dude.
Absolute great guy. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's your captain then, eh? So you got a good captain. That's the first start of having a good organization, right?
yeah, building the puzzle pieces.
And then the other guy looks like you two have gone a lot of places together, but he did not win the Deutsche Meister title in 2009. Kevin Lavalle.
Yeah.
He was playing for
So
Munich when I was on Bietigheim when we won the championship, became Deutsche
mhm.
Meisters. And then the next season they beat us, but I was hurt, so it didn't really feel like the same. So I didn't get to play, you know,
Yeah, he was kind of a late pickup for us because he was,
because he's
you know,
Alta Aya.
yeah, he's but he doesn't look it out there to be
Folks in
honest.
English, that means old balls.
Yeah. He's 41 years old, and if you my fiance for example thought he was 27 when she saw him, so
Oh,
that just
really?
shows
He
like
ages well, eh?
he ages well both on and off the ice. Also a great guy in the locker room, and just
He's been
anytime
doing
you
it
can
a
have
long time, eh?
yeah, and anytime you can have someone like he played for the German national team, so anytime you can have someone like that on your team, especially in Selb, like one of the newer teams, I think that's always a plus.
Yeah, and some of those guys that have been around the block can teach the kids so much, right?
Yeah, and he's like, you know what, like he's older, as I said, so he's not maybe the fastest, but he's got that experience and he knows how to
Yeah.
play in certain situations, and I really like him for that.
Yeah, no, it's that sounds like a good pickup. Sounds like you guys know what you're doing in the sports managing world, eh? Okay. Another guy that played only one game for your squad this year, Moritz Sarakov. See on the what?
Yeah, you play with his dad, right?
I did. I was actually, if you see him around, you should ask him if tell him to ask his old man if he's ever been in an erotic photo shoot.
Okay.
just, just, yeah. Just ask your old hey, Moritz, if you're listening, ask your old man if he's been in an erotic photo shoot with yours truly. Because we did, and it was hilarious. It's one of the funniest days I've ever had in pro hockey.
And where was that in Bietigheim?
Yeah. And then they canceled the calendar and nobody ever got to see the photos, but I have them.
Oh God.
So Moritz, if you want me to send you a photo, I won't because it was canceled. I'm not allowed, but I have them. And your father was in the photo shoot with me.
Different times, eh? Just crazy stuff going on.
So there's no erotic photo shoots in Selb with the players. You guys don't tell them to show up at the rink on a Monday, and then you say it's for a photo shoot, and then they get there, and then a busload of women show up, and then they get naked and play hockey with you and stuff.
No, that's not happening in Sal, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that did happen at Bietigheim, and it was one of my favorite days of hockey ever. Alexander, you know what I'm talking about. But man, it makes you feel really old when these kids are like the kids of my buddies are playing pro now, you know?
Yeah, no, Moritz is, yeah, he's 19 or 20, so it's kind of in his first year as a pro and so still learning. And yeah, this year with us, he was more down in the junior team playing, but
Right. Well, he's still that age, right?
Yeah. And like for me, I always saw him as a like he's a guy that likes the, laying the body, like playing that hard nose kind of game. Maybe his dad was the same. I don't know his dad, like I met him once, so I can't like comment. I just have heard about his days in Lancet and stuff. But no, Moritz, he's a good kid, and I think he'll find his way here.
Yeah. Well, his old man was he. I would say he might be the best net front guy I ever played with. He would do anything in front of the goalie, and he could tip any puck. It was wild. And he was part of the best power play I was ever on in my life. Him and another guy that I think you might have crossed paths with very briefly, big sexy Justin Kelly in Dagendorf.
Yeah, he was there. Unfortunately, he had a concussion at the time, so he wasn't playing when I was there. I was only there 2 weeks, but I met him and stuff, talked to him because the year before I had lost in the finals to him in the Delta Championship. So we got to share some stories about that.
Sucks, yeah. But anyways, that power play was the best one I was ever on. Sari in front of the net with me and Big Sexy, Little and Big Sexy running the half wall. We would flip around, old school overload, but we'd move around about, and then we'd have Doug Andrus up top with Andreas Geipel clapping bombs on the other side. Schlagschüsse as they called them, right?
Anywho, hey, you would have played in the old building, eh? You weren't there for that. Was the new one ready yet when you were there?
Which arena? Bietigheim?
Bietigheim.
I was actually big full size on the front doors of the old arena, and then when they switched to the new arena, they asked me to kindly leave. So I went down the road to Hellbrun, and nobody cared.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's cool, I'm over it, right?
Clearly.
I'm actually going to have on Craig Teeple next, who is another guy in Bietigheim that's got his jersey retired. So then I will have had on every guy with his jersey retired in Bietigheim. Right?
There you go.
That's cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to have to get another guy that on, Matt McKnight. He's getting his jersey retired with Renee.
Yeah, I saw you had Renee on
a couple
weeks ago or a week ago. Yeah. I obviously coached him that 1 year, and then we did our C shine this past summer together. So our C coaching license. So yeah,
you got to do all the baloney over there too, all these courses and stuff to coach.
Oh yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I found it interesting in Germany. You had to take like a fishing course to get your fishing license. Like you had to pass a class, like knowing what to do.
Really?
Yeah. I can't imagine what the coaching courses are like. You probably shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't say anything about Canadian minor hockey coaching courses, right? But they're not very helpful.
No, I think they have their ups and downs.
Right. But they make you pay for them and all that stuff. So whatever. Anywho, they make you do it. Other ways we know each other. Okay. There's a lot here, even though we've never met. Small world, this hockey world is. You're a Burlington Cougar. We've already had on a couple Burlington Cougars that you probably don't know, but Bobby Raymond and Stretch, my college roommate, Andrew Dwyer. He was a Burlington Cougar legend too, I think. But anyways, you're also a Cougar. So is that where you're from, or is it Peterborough?
I was born in Peterborough and then I moved to Burlington when I was 12.
12. Oh,
So I still
that's a
still
tough
re
age to move, though, eh? Lose all your buddies at that age. That's tough. No,
yeah, it was tough for sure, but in the end ended up being a better decision because I think if I'd stayed in Peterborough, I wouldn't have made it as far in hockey as I did when I switched. So
well, you really seem to be into this hockey thing. It seems like you got a good setup. You're marrying a German gal, and you're making a name for yourself in the ice hockey world over there, eh?
trying to, I thought it'd be when I was done playing, I wanted to get into goalie coaching first because obviously that's something that's natural, and I just felt back home in the GTA, there's a goalie coach every 2 blocks, so it's kind of it wouldn't have been easy to do it, and probably like would have taken a long time. Where here they were looking for goalie coaches, and I was willing to learn the language. So
Right. So how did you learn the language? I just learned in the cabina with the fellows. How did you learn? Did you take classes and stuff?
uh yeah, a couple of things. I had a tutor or have a tutor, Duolingo, and yeah, like kind of like in the just in the cabina as well, like starting to actually use it. And then now because I work in the office, there's people that don't speak English, and my fiance's parents don't speak English, so I kind of had to.
So you're like right on it. You're like fluent then?
I wouldn't say fluent. Like I still struggle with some stuff, but I'd say like 50-60%.
That's better than me. My proudest moment in German was I canceled my internet and cable over the phone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's big.
it was a big day. Yeah, and I also did an Arbeitslos um Geld meeting there, all in German, the unemployment meeting. I don't know if fellas still do that, but I did do an unemployment meeting all in German,
Yeah.
and then worked out for a bit there.
No,
Just
they still do that. It's very popular. Like basically every player and
So
coaches do.
if you go back to Canada, folks, you're really not supposed to get unemployment money, right? But hockey players in Germany in the off season sign up for unemployment, and you do make like some money throughout the summer, which is pretty helpful for hockey players that usually don't make money in the summer, right?
You're gonna be throwing some guys under the bus here. Hopefully the
I've
German
never
government isn't listening
nobody
on your
listens
pod.
to us, right? No, but they're allowed to, right? They're allowed to. You're allowed to do that.
Yes and no. You're only allowed to go home for like 3 weeks.
I'm not talking about going home. I'm talking about the guys that they stay in Germany. They don't go back,
Oh
right?
yeah, then that's totally fine.
Yeah. No, nobody would do it and go back to Canada, right?
No one would ever think of doing that.
I wouldn't.
No, I bet you stayed here full time. I mean, you said you're basically fluent in German, right? So
Ich kann sprechen ein bisschen, aber ich vergessen viel. But actually, no, I actually did do that. And then I actually said, sorry, I'm gonna give you your money back because I couldn't collect the pension stuff until I was like 65 because I was like 2 months over because of that unemployment. So I actually gave the money back.
wow, that's
Yeah,
very Canadian of you.
right. And I said, sorry, can I have my pension instead? I'll give you the 2 months of unemployment for the pension.
Fair
Deal?
trade.
Deal. Right. Thanks for the shed, Germany. Anyways, okay. So you're also a Niagara Purple Eagle. We've had a lot of Purple Eagles in the shed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Jeff Van Nijenatten, very competitive goaltender. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Uh-uh.
No. Barrett Eggets. Really? He's like a legend. They like retired his jersey. You don't even know who that is?
No, because I was there very briefly. So
Right. You don't even care. Just a bunch of punks, right? There was a hockey house though that was like legendary there, right? Do you know what that is?
we had like when I was there, we had a place called Wildwood, and it was like where like everyone like kind of lived, like the older guys, like juniors and seniors.
Oh, I know there's one that's like been there since back when like the fellas I know played there, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You left there anyways. Bunch of punks, those Purple Eagles. But so you played in Morzine, France. Small world. You played with Carl Hudson in Morzine, France.
I
Right?
certainly did.
Carl Hudson's one of my favorite hockey players ever in the world.
Yeah.
Yes. One of my favorite people. Anyways, 2 years later, okay, here's the small world for you. My career comes to an end because of a knee injury, and the fellas decide to do a year-end trip for Carl's wedding. We could
Mm,
call it a bachelor party. And he set up a trip to Morzine, France, and we went there for a weekend. 11,
no way.
11 guys from Cardiff. Yeah. Yeah. What a time.
In the so during this like in the winter then or
It was like the last, right after the hockey season. So it was like the last weekend of skiing or something, I think.
okay.
Yeah. It was quite the time. So do you know Pepe then too?
Yeah, like the name sounds familiar. If I saw the guy, I would know. But with Carl, I mean, I play like he used to work out with me too in Burlington. Like he was always like around that area, so I knew him from like when he was at Canisius and stuff. And then to play with him was kind of funny because he was like in his fourth year pro. I was in my first, and I mean, that guy, I've never seen someone be able to get after it so hard, but then be in the gym the next morning at 6 and be the hardest working guy. And he had a cannon of a shot.
And a
Um,
smooth skater.
yeah, like he was like a great dude too. Allie at the time was his girlfriend who was there. I know now they're married and have kids, but she was very nice as well. I had a couple like Sunday dinners with them, but he was a great guy and was definitely too good for that league.
He's a very good player. So here's my funny tale. I haven't told this one in a while in the shed. So I went there with the original shed guy, Dr. Luke Piggott, and my knees totaled. That's my last year of hockey. I can't ski. So these fellows wake up and ski all day, and I can't ski. I'm on a skiing trip with no skis. And then they say, Carl says, he's like, this night, the first night here, like what we are doing is stopping at a chalet, like a third of the way down the mountain, and they're making dinner for us. They're doing all this stuff for us. He's like, you have to find a way to get down the mountain to that restaurant because that's what we're doing. If you don't get there, you're not going to be with any of the fellas tonight. And it's like, okay, I will figure it out. So they go skiing all day. And I still hadn't figured out how to get down there. And a couple guys take a break from skiing and they're like, okay, let's go meet the fellas for dinner at the end of the day. The chalet we're staying at has a little red saucer, like one with just a handle and just a thing to sit on. That's it, like a red piece of plastic. And I took the gondola to the top with the fellas with the skis, and I
So
I
your
went
Christmas vacation did down the hill.
I went I went down the mountain on a red saucer. And got to the restaurant in the daylight. And then we stayed there quite a while and had quite a bit of fun. And then we had to get down the mountain, and this mountain was closed. They had closed it for like the groomers, and we had to go under the ropes. And then I get down to this restaurant and we run amok for hours. It's quite the time. Time to head down the mountain then at like, say, 2 a.m. ish. And the owners of the chalet have snowmobiles, so they get the lights on behind all the skiers. But then I still only have a red saucer and a bad knee. So one of the fellas from France, I believe he played on that hockey team you would have been. I held on to his pole the whole way down the mountain, the skiing pole, folks. And we went down the mountain in Morzine, and I was on a red saucer holding on to his pole. And we went down the whole way with the snowmobiles followed us so we could see. And I held on to his pole so like I didn't like go off the side and like die, right? Because
Yeah,
it's like a mountain, right?
that's one of those real ones.
It was probably the craziest thing I've ever done, and probably one of the funnest things I've ever done. It was all fun until we were right near the end, and all the fellows had stopped at this one spot, and I thought I was funny, and I'm like, haha, boys, see you later. And I go fly by on a red saucer. And then I realized the reason they had stopped was because it was the mogul section. So then I went right through the moguls on my red saucer, and it didn't really go that well.
I'm
So
sure that was good on your knee.
it was. There's a time where I tried to have to stop, right? And I had to dig my heels in to try and stop. And I actually couldn't stop. There was snow flying like 10 feet in the air, and I couldn't stop on that little red saucer. It was wild. So I have been to Morzine.
So you've lived it in great fashion, and you're here to tell the tale.
Yeah. So I had to tell that story because I haven't told it in a while. But and then Piglet showed up the next day, and he also didn't ski because I couldn't, and we just hung out and had fun. We had quite the time, right? So, anyways, that's my tale. So, did you like your time, Morzine? Did you ski?
I did a little. Like we had a free membership, so you were allowed to go, but like it was like one of those things, if you get injured, you're not going to get paid. So like I know, for example, like Carl went every day. Like he loves skiing, and I went maybe like 3 or 4 times, and didn't really want to risk getting injured, but it was fun. And Morzine was great. I played 2 years there.
You
So
really wouldn't want your starting goalie skiing that often, I wouldn't think, as a hockey organization.
normally not. So
Carl was
I
out
always,
there a lot though, wasn't he?
yeah, Carl, like I can play through anything. So I think they weren't worried.
And
So,
he is a good skier.
yeah, he was a really good skier. And,
And
he
he
was
can get
also
after it. Yeah.
can get after it, and he's fluent in French. So like it was basically like being home for him. Like it was, I
Yeah.
didn't know that about him the first time I showed up, and we like saw each other in Morzine. Like I was like obviously struggling because I didn't pay attention in school, and like he just starts fluently speaking. I look at him and I'm like, "You can speak French?" He goes, "Yeah, my first language is French." Didn't
It's
learn
weird,
English,
isn't
and
it? I
yeah,
know. You
so
wouldn't think that about Carl, especially
no,
you see him speak, hear him speak English and stuff. Yeah, he's a shed guy. He's been on a few times. He's a dandy. One of my favorites. I wish I got to see him more. So, other ways we know each other. We're still in that section, eh? Told you we didn't need many notes, eh?
oh my god,
Well, like you've been in both organizations that I was in 4 years Beatingheim and 1 year in Helbron. So in Helbron, you also played with Mark Heater.
I did.
Yeah, great cook that guy is. He taught me a lot about the culinary world.
Yeah, he's very famous for every morning having sushi for breakfast or salmon with some sort of bread in the dressing room, and
Making it
loves
smelly.
loves bringing his microwave on the bus on road trips. That was
You guys didn't have a microwave on the bus? He had to bring his?
he would always like yeah, he would always like bring one, or like we got one put in, I forget, but like
You guys should
nowadays
have a
most buses,
microwave on your bus though, right? I
I don't
mean,
know. Back then this was Hellbron, man. Like we were back
mm,
without Mannheim. So they're definitely not the budget they have now, but yeah, he
do they
was
have
a
a
good
budget
guy.
now? When I was there, I found it the weirdest organization I'd been a part of. So this is what we're talking about, folks. There's a sports manager and a GM. The GM, that was the money guy, determined what sticks we could buy, and he didn't know anything about hockey. So he says I can get my own curve and I get my P106, but I can't get like the good stick. I have to get like the cheapest model they have. And I couldn't shoot the puck where I usually could shoot it. Usually, when I was like, okay, I'm going top titties, I could go there. With their sticks, couldn't do it. And then they're like, well, what you guys, they said the sticks don't make the players. And I'm like, well, they sure help when you're a goal scorer. And you obviously don't know what you're talking about, Stick to being the GM, not the sports manager, right? If I
Who
don't
was
think
who
he's
was the guy when you were there? Was it
Ernst Roop
so I played with his son on the Ice Baron.
Stefano.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
He would practice with us. Small world in the shed, eh? Or
Real
kitchen.
small. I mean sheds are small, so
Did
normally.
was Stefano still wearing like the Sergei Fedorov white boots?
No. When I got to I played parts of 3 years with him on the Ice Baron. He had just come back from like Dell 2, so he played, I think, Heilbronn and then Freiburg. Funny enough, he actually dated my fiance's twin sister back then, so um, that was a different time. And then
Did you say he dated who?
my fiance is a twin, so her twin, her and Stefano dated when they were like when he was like playing Freiburg and stuff, I think.
Really? Stefano, I remember when he'd come out for our practices, would have like a big gold chain, the white boots on, the Sergei Fedorovs, and a way better stick than I had. And I was playing for the professional hockey team. And I know his old man had bought the kid the nice stick, but he wouldn't buy his top scorers a nice stick,
Gotta pick
Weird.
and choose.
Got to pick and choose, eh? Yeah. Well, we didn't win that year, and I think the Schlagers had a lot to do with it. Just thinking out loud again. Sorry for being mean. I'm just telling the truth, right?
Fair enough.
Nice town though. I liked Hellbron. I liked my time there. I did. I enjoyed it.
I love it. Like I think it's the rink. Like people say the rink isn't the best. Like I can understand it now because of all the other rinks in the league. But to
It's
be
not a
honest,
bad rink. There's nothing
it's
wrong with
not
that
it's
rink.
not bad. City is awesome. The apartments where everybody live, it's all together and really nice, and they get Mercedes cars. So I mean, to me, I think if they would maybe upgrade their rink to something like a you might not know this, but the new Weisswasser, new Kaufbeuren rinks are identical. Like that's something I could see Heilbronn having. If they had that, it would be probably top two best place to play in the Del 2 or top three.
Really? You think so? It was a nice place to play when I was there. I didn't mind the rink, but I've never seen Kaufbeuren's new barn, and I haven't seen Weisswasser's. I was in the old ones, and I liked those ones. I like some character with my arena, so I hope these new ones have character.
I mean, Kaufbeuren's really good this year, so they're building lots of character with all their wins. But
Kaufbeuren's good. The Jokers,
yeah, they were. I think they finished second or third this year.
really. I loved their old barn, man. I felt like I was in like I don't even know, a bomb shelter or something when I'd go in there, and it was all open air, but it was like all cement, all concrete. It was an interesting rink to play in. And it was little. I didn't have to skate far. It was awesome.
Yeah, I only played one game there because my first year they were still there. The second year they got their new one, and I remember being there December or January, and the snow just flying in while you're playing. So that was a cool experience.
Is there many open rinks still? Like Krimachow's still playing in the old barn, right?
Yeah, there's three. So there's Krimichow, Bayreuth is open, and then Bad Nauheim is open.
Those teams weren't in the league when I was there. Bad
Yeah,
Nauheim's in the league, and they still have the open barn then, eh?
yeah, yeah. I think Bad Nauheim when you would have been third league, and Bayreuth probably the same.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Um, well, no, it brings back memories talking about this stuff, you know. I remember playing in Grimmachow and all the water bottles froze, and you couldn't drink water during the game because the water was frozen, and like your stick, the flex in your stick was not quite similar to normal games because when it's that frozen, it doesn't really flex, you know.
it's not so much give.
There's not as much give. And it actually isn't really fun playing hockey when it's that cold. Like when you don't even sweat and you're like not that great shape and you're not even sweating and you're like, this doesn't make sense.
Uh, I like obviously I coached there last year, and I'll just tell a quick story about it. So like I don't think I get cold easily, but I think I'm normal. Like I'm Canadian, and like I would be on the bench in winter with like a winter jacket, gloves, and like a hat on. And the head coach I was with, uh, he would be there just wearing his suit the whole year. Not one game did he put a coat on, gloves, anything. I could not believe it. Like I
Really?
was, yeah, like his blood must have just heated up during the games. Like he was a passionate coach, but like I was just like I'd be coming in the room coughing.
Yeah, I could see that being that into the game and that passionate, but like, man, I coach around here and like there's some cold barns, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, and Krimichow was the coldest one I played in, pretty sure. It's the only place I had the water bottles freeze on me. You know, I don't think I'd be wearing just a suit. I'd be wearing a lot of stuff.
Like
Do you
Joey from
still not
France.
have to dress up for hockey games in Germany? Like I used to wear blue jeans and like a hoodie to games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys I would say still do that kind of style. Like, I mean, coaches and stuff wear suits, or some of them. Like, I know some teams they don't, but that was always weird for me when I came to Europe. Like, I felt like coming from college and junior, like we always wore suits, and then first year in France and everywhere I went, it was the same thing. Like, just yeah, wear some jeans and a shirt. Like, figure it out. Doesn't matter. Like when me and Bryce or Reddick played in Norway, we had guys on our team working full time jobs. So like on a Thursday, if we played at home, these guys would be rolling in with their construction equipment on or like outfit on and like construction boots like to the game. Like
Because
it
they're
was
working all day and
they're
then
working all day and they just come straight there. Like they, you know.
yeah,
So
it's different, but like I actually totally embraced the not dressing up because I don't like getting all fancy. I'd rather just wear normal clothes and go muck it up at the rink, you know? I liked it.
yeah, I could see you enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm not very fashionable. I don't have many suits. The boys in so after 6 years in Germany and then you go to Denmark for a year, which they gave us basically like a jacket to wear and a shirt to wear. So like I didn't have to buy clothes. I get to Cardiff and they're telling me like I'm back to wearing suits again. I'm like, I haven't bought a suit since college. Like I haven't had to wear a suit since then. So I only had one. So I wore it to every game the entire season for 2 years, and the fellas loved it. It became like it, they liked it because I never got dry cleaned once, and it had a lot of
For
fun at nights
dear.
out, and I just kept wearing it. It was awesome.
So it had character.
It had a lot of character. I like character, even your suit's got to have character.
Exactly.
A lot of fun on that suit by the end of it.
Is it framed somewhere in your bedroom?
I think I got it dry cleaned for a wedding when we got home.
Oh,
So I
damn.
still only had one.
It's got to be a record.
Okay, so what's a normal day for a goalie coach? So a Torhüter coach, right? Is that what it's called? Torhüter?
Torhüter.
Torvart?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Goalie coach, assistant sport manager, and sometimes assistant coach. What's a normal day like?
Um, Normally I get up around 7. I go to the gym before my day starts. Then I get to the office around 8:39.
Yuck. You still working out? Still playing?
I want to stay in shape. I refuse to not.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And then yeah, I do some office work, and then normally we're practicing, meeting at the rink around 10:30, going on the ice 11:30 to 1. So I'm at the rink there. Then after that, back to the office. Whatever needs to be done there. Every day's different. I can't really give you like
Yeah.
there's some crazy times when it's like really crazy. Like the deadline was crazy. Like
The deadline
concert.
would be crazy, and then probably right around that national team break seems to be a lot of movement in the hockey world.
Yeah, and then too like in August and stuff because you're doing all the licensing. So like that's a lot of paperwork, a lot of like getting
Do you get
things.
into the like not the passport, but like the visa stuff and all helping with flights and all that stuff?
Visa stuff I do. Like I mean I would like Bryce. I don't know if Bryce told you, like I wear so many hats here. Like I
You
take
just do
guys
whatever
to,
the team needs, right?
yeah, like basically I like there's been times this year I've gone in net for practice. There's been times I've had to do laundry because our betroyer broke like our equipment guy broke his wrist. So like I've had to go to games as like help out like on the bench as a betroyer. I've had to do assistant coach, anything in the
As a
office.
betroyer, like you're talking like the trainer?
Like equipment manager, yeah.
Oh,
Like I've
equipment
had,
manager.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've had to do everything, like
Do you
get stuff.
sharpen skates?
Unfortunately, that's the only thing I don't have confidence with. I used to work at a sports store and was fired after 8 months. Not sure why, but that might be. Um, yeah, not the best skate sharpener, but I can do a lot of other things.
Yeah, no, that's cool though. And teams need a guy that will do all that stuff. I always talk about how it takes everyone to win, but it takes people that are willing to do whatever the organization needs with a smile on their face and do it like because they love it and they want to help, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't always have a smile on my face.
Mm.
That's not true, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do whatever they need, and I try to make it for the players. I try to make it as easy. Like you want them to feel they're professional and that everything's taken care of. So
Okay, here's a cutting edge question then. So there's a sports manager and you're the assistant sports manager. How many imports do you get? 4?
yeah, you're allowed throughout the year. You're allowed to use sign 6, like have 6 license, and you can play 4 every night.
That's it, eh? So back when I was there, they were getting into like having tryout guys and they'd bring them over for 2 weeks. And then if they decided they didn't like them, they just send them packing. And then these guys were coming over like with a guarantee of like a very small contract. And then they'd have a 2-week tryout. And then they'd find these gems. And if they weren't a gem, they just send them packing and bring the next guy over. And it ruined all the contracts for all the Auslanders over there, the imports, because they started doing that. And then I guess it's nice that they've changed the rules and you can only sign 6 in a year.
Yeah, that changed. I think either my second year or my third year, because my first year when I went to Heilbronn, that's what I technically was on. Like I had a contract to the end of the year because I went in like December, but they announced it to the league as a 2-week contract so that they didn't have to pay the fee right away. Because if it didn't work out, then they could have got rid of me, I guess. But I ended up playing well, so they kept me. But yeah, that was, yeah, like a lot of teams would do that. We had a couple the first year, like guys come to us for 3 weeks, then go to another team, then like so it was
Yeah.
different. Like I mean, I think
What
there's pros and cons, but
I mean, and the business side saves some teams some money and they get players for cheaper. But to help the players out, I'm glad they have those rules so that people get paid and then they sign the right imports from the start and then don't get into all that funky business, you know?
forces everyone to do their homework too. Like before it
Right.
was, I'm sure when you played, like it was like hockey DB or elite prospect scouting, or
That's
like you
all that's
maybe,
all they would. They would bring in a guy
yeah,
from the coast that scored like 40, 50 goals. And they're like, this guy's gonna come over and just rip it apart. And it's like, Well, the guy came over and he's actually a stand in front of the net on the power play slow guy, and he's not built for Europe, and he's actually not good in this league. And then everybody gets so mad at this player, and it's like, well, maybe you should have figured out who I was before you brought me over here and paid me this
Yeah,
money, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I guess video is probably a big deal these days now, eh? You probably watch a lot of video.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's Instat, Sports Contract, like websites like that. Our league sponsored by Instat, so uh we can go on there and scout, especially like North American guys or guys in like other leagues like Denmark and stuff that you don't see regularly.
Yeah, there's yeah, the video would definitely help players get noticed more. Anywho, better keep going, eh? What's the cell barn like? I've never been there.
We actually this year we just built a brand new VIP, so it's actually unbelievable that part. So we have like basically now a new part and then like an old part. So the stands and stuff would be like older, kind of like woodenish, like that old school feel. We got brand new boards this year, brand new glass, so that's really nice. And then the brand new VIP, so it's definitely nicer than it was last year, I think.
The
Um,
VIP sections, Jeremy, that's bringing back memories.
oh yeah,
That's like a different thing that they have there compared to other leagues. I'm sure other leagues have it, but Germany really did her up, right? I remember in Lancet, there was the place overlooking like the game from up top, and everybody had like a full buffet, the bar going, and all these people be up there. And then everywhere you play, the players after the game go up to the VIP area and get a meal, get drinks, and have a time, right?
yeah, they're very big on that. I think you know, it brings in sponsors who want to come to the game,
And they get
because
to know
they
the players after, right?
exactly. So you get to watch the game, have good food, then after meet the players, and then also know that the money you might be giving every year or that they want you to give is going into the right places. So
Yeah, well, it's interesting because then when I go to Cardiff, you just muck it up with all the fans and you just go out and smash pints with all of them instead of just the VIPs.
just open your dressing room door after the game and the fans just come in.
Yeah. Back in the big blue tent, this is an old tent arena, and there was a bar at the end, and you'd go there after a game, and they told us like you go spend time with the fans, and man, you could end up there for hours.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you get to know your fans and have a time. I wish I would have been able to speak German more, so I would have known the fans more, right? Been able to communicate more. I remember there'd be times where like you'd have a sponsor or fans you'd be trying to communicate to each other, and it was just so difficult that you just kind of were like, whatever, right?
I was there. Like when I played, I didn't know any German, so there was
Yeah,
times where you run into someone and you're hoping someone can like translate for you because you have no clue. But
no, yeah, yeah. It's hard when you go over there and you don't know, but then it's interesting when you see the fellas that like find a home when they go over to Germany, and Germany is a fun place, you know.
very fun. Oktoberfest obviously is very world noun, and
But do you have one for your town? It's like in I know Heilbronn,
well,
there's
Stuttgart
different
was is like
Stuttgart, the
yeah,
Volksfest, right?
yeah. So that one's whatever 40 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me. So that would be like the big, like obviously Munich is the massive, like
But well,
the
that's
number
the one
one.
that gets all the tourism and that's what they promote. But like you go to Volksfest in Stuttgart, I would rather go there than to Oktoberfest because it's not so touristy and you're in like the real deal, right? And
Hmm.
I've ran amok there, had a great time.
Me too. Don't
Yeah,
remember much, but I think I had fun.
right. Yeah. Oktoberfest can get away from you too, though, right? It's a long day by the time you bus there and bus back. I got another story, but I probably shouldn't tell this. When I played for the Hellbronner Falcons, we went to Oktoberfest and it was a long day, right? Long day.
They normally are.
Yeah. Well, I ended up on a train by myself back to Hellbronn and couldn't make it till when our bus was leaving at the end of the night. So somehow I got stumbling around Munich and ended up on a train back to
You
Hellbronn.
must have been just busy like talking to somebody, I'm assuming. That's why you missed the bus.
Well, I didn't miss the bus. I left before the bus
Oh, okay.
because I got discombobulated and ended up not in Oktoberfest anymore. And then I was at the train station. I was like, well, I better get out of here because I don't even know how to get back. And then because I'd been in Bietigheim for 4 years, that on that train, I ended up meeting like a Finnish and a Swedish guy, and they had a bar on the train, right? So then we got back into it. And then the train stopped in Bietigheim, and for some reason I thought I still lived in Bietigheim. And I got off and started walking into town. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't live here anymore. And I don't play for this team anymore. And that was the last train. So then I was stuck in Bietigheim, and then I had to pay for a cab from Bietigheim to Helbron, which wasn't cheap. But then I did make it home, right? So just cost me like 250 euros in transportation fees that day, but we did make it home, right?
Well, that's nothing. That's nothing compared to probably what you were making back then. I heard about the money back in these days.
That was back when the tryout thing was happening. Contracts were down.
Okay.
Actually, I heard the money is way better now than it was when I was playing. I'm in touch with the hockey world. I know agents and all sorts of stuff, you know?
So you're a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah, I do know how much. I heard the Oberleague is even paying.
Well, the Overleague is it's ridiculous with some of these teams. What they're like Hanover, Vide, and Rosenheim, they're paying more than Dell teams for like imports. It's crazy.
Really?
A
Yeah.
buddy of mine plays in Hanover, so I know that.
And it's interesting, right? Like people don't know, and they look, you know, research teams will get hot and they'll see someone playing in the Oberliga and putting up 150 points, and you're like, why? How did that guy end up there? But it's like there are teams that want to move up from the third league to the second league, and they'll pay. Same with the second league, the first league, and that was another reason why contracts all tanked when I was over there. Was they shut down the DL to the DL2, and there wasn't up and down anymore. And then all of a sudden, teams weren't paying like they were when I first got there. They were paying.
Yeah, they just opened that up again this year or last year. So
And that's going to help the players get paid for the teams that want to win.
yeah. So obviously, as you talked to Rene, like Biedekheim's going to come back down now to the Del 2, and then maybe Augsburg if Kassel, Dresden, or Krefeld was to win the championship this year.
So, and it has to be a team to win it that wants to go up, right?
Yeah, like so at least for like Biedekheim's coming 100%, like that's guaranteed because they have 15 teams in the Dell this year. And then as I said, like Augsburg, who finished second last, they'll come down only if one of those three teams wins this year.
That want to go up.
That have the money for the license and the rink and all that stuff. Like Kassel has made it like they're trying to win, they're trying to go up, and I think they have a really good team. Like that's why they were 20 points ahead in first or 23 points ahead of second.
You're bringing back bad memories. Kassel was?
Yeah.
Kassel was when I played in Landshut my first year in Germany. They were in the second league, and they had a squad that you heard around like what guys were making, and you saw the squad they had, and they were stacked. And we played them in the finals with Landshut, and we went to game 5 of a best of 5 and lost in overtime. And that team went to the DL the next year, and then Kassel was in the DL again. And then a few years later, they go tits up again, and then they're in the 5th league and working their way back up, right? And it's just the circle of German hockey, isn't it?
A couple teams have done that. I mean, Frankfurt did it, and now they're back up finally in the DL. And I know even Landshut, they went bankrupt the one year and went back down to the third league, I thought. Now they're back up here. So
yeah, it's interesting. The same team seem to do it. That's just thinking out loud again. That's all. But Kassel I've seen them put some money to a second league team before and be very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't win this year, but it's
and their goalie's a Western Michigan Bronco. Fun fact
Jerry?
for folks. Yeah, Jerry. He's a bit scared of the shed. He said he'd come on, but then he, seems like he's running amok, so I'll just leave him alone.
I hope he comes on, to be honest, because I'd love to hear his stories. Like he's a guy that's obviously been over here a long time, and
I know he should come on. I don't know what he's scared of. It's just a couple Broncos
I'll mess
talking
him after and tell him that I was just on the shed and that he should be the next guest. So
right. Tell him like he likes winning. I know he likes winning. I know he's competitive, and I'm trying to be number 1 in Germany, right? I haven't been a Deutsche Meister since 2009. So I plan on running amok in Germany for the next couple of weeks. And Jerry, you could help me be number 1 in Germany. Come on, please come on,
Jerry.
Shed,
you
right?
got some time now. The series doesn't start until next week. So
right. Get a little shed boost before the playoffs. I just gave one to
Exactly.
the Danish goalie that's going to win the championship. I may as well give one to the German goalie that's going to win the championship, right?
Enough.
Yesterday was a confusing day for me. So I got, you may not know this, but I get chocolate thrown on the ice at different arenas around the world because if they win, due to people coming to the shed and talking about chocolate. And Manchester, who I never played for, and I didn't really know anybody on their team before I started this. I've had on a lot of people in their organization. I've had on their bus driver, their match night announcer, their GM, their coach. 5 or 6 players. And you know what? They're running amok these days. They're a low budget team that are having fun. And when they win, they get chocolate thrown at them. They just went into Cardiff, my old honey hole, and the big budget team nowadays. And they just beat them last night. And people seem to think it was because of my shed boosts. Well, folks, I'm actually in Canada and I'm just talking to people in my shed. And Manchester reminds me of the Cardiff Devils, the big blue tent. Small budget with a bunch of dandies that like hockey and like having fun. So, you know what? It was a weird day. I was cheering for shed guys. I was cheering for hockey, right? And Manchester happened to win, but it's not my fault. I'm just in Canada talking to people, right?
It's true. But I mean, if you want to take credit for it, you can take credit for it.
I'd love to, but
I got
it's
3% of that victory was me.
right. It's actually the players that win and the coaches. I'm just talking to people, but you know what? I think talking about your hockey career and having fun makes people play better, and getting to talk about memories, it makes you happier. And I think happy hockey players play better.
100%.
Yeah. So you guys are treating people right in Selb?
Yeah, I think we do a good job. Obviously, like guys have nice apartments, nice cars, stuff like that. So anything they need, it's
Where
normally
is Selb?
so it's in Bayern, so Bavaria, but it's like right on the border of Czech. So like it's like a really small town. So like we would go over to Czech. It's like a 5 kilometer drive to go eat in like restaurants and stuff.
And that's way cheaper.
Yeah, way cheaper. And there's like we don't have many restaurants in Cell, like, or it's like small towns around, but closest big city I guess would be like Bayreuth is an hour, Dresden's like 2 hours, so
So you're
kind of
like the northeast of
somewhere.
Bavaria,
Like
of
I'm so bad
Bavaria.
with like Northwest, all that stuff, but
Mm.
Krimichau is an hour away, so like they're one of our derbies. So
Who is?
Krimichau,
Really? You're the up that north then.
yeah.
Okay. I was trying to figure out how you were so that's where Selb is. I was trying to figure out for last year or whenever it was. I have a question. How you're the goalie coach for Krimichau and Helbron, because they ain't close.
Well, that was during COVID, so I started in Krimichau, like so I was going there. It was after, so Corona happened 1920 season when I was in Bietigheim and we got shut down. Then we started up the next year, 2021. I started in Krimichau as the goalie coach, and I was driving there every 2 weeks from Heilbronn, so it was 4 hours. And I'd go stay for 3 days, work with the goalies, go back. And then basically in October, they said, yeah, we can't afford that anymore. Like there's gonna be no fans this year. We need to cut, like basically let you go. And I was like, okay, like that sucks, but it is what it is. And then in November, December, Hellbraun didn't have a goalie coach, and the Mannheim guy like wasn't able to come. So I just went there and said, hey, like I live here. If you want me to come once a week, I'll come do it. So it ended up working out.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's how you get started, right? Is situations just work out and then you get your start and show what you can do, right?
Yeah, you got to pay your dues.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite German meal?
Probably schnitzel.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you're
What are
gonna
you
have a
putting
good
on it
schnitzel,
though? You putting on the brown sauce? You gonna have some cranberry sauce with that? You ever had cranberry sauce with the schnitzel?
oh, I have. I honestly, I'm fine with everything. Like, I mean, I get
I'll
my
schnitzel anyway too. You're right. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
Even ketchup goes well, but that's a
stop it.
Canadian thing.
Stop it.
No, no,
Ketchup's gross. What?
you're Canadian. You say that?
Well, it's I got a bit foodie when I went around the world, and ketchup is a condiment. If I have it now, I have to maybe even mix a little sriracha with it or something just to make it different than just ketchup. That's like just a sugary mess, you know? I treat this temple better than that.
Yeah, you only put grade A products into
Yeah.
that temple. Yeah, that's a good model. Maybe I should start doing the same.
No, seriously, ketchup sucks. I don't care what you say, but I do use it. I mean, I'm not grilled cheese, I'll get into some ketchup, but I like to put some sriracha with it, make it a little spicier, right? Make it a little different than just that. It's a kid thing. Ketchup's for kids. Grow up, okay?
Some of us are still kids inside.
Cranberry sauce, brown sauce. Actually, like it is weird though, traveling the world, how it changes you, right? Like the meals I make now, there'll be nights where I'm like, I feel like going back to Germany, and I make a meal that makes me feel like I'm back in Germany, Changes you going around places.
No, definitely. Like all when I'm home in in Burlington in the summers. Like I remember like last summer I was searching for like a German restaurant just because I was like craving the food. There was one
Right.
in Hamilton, so like luckily found one. But
There's not
yeah,
many of
definitely.
them, is there?
No, no.
There should be more.
Well, if you live in like Toronto, I think there's a couple because it's a massive city. But in terms of Burlington Way, the only one I could find was in Hamilton.
If you could open up a place like they have, say, in like Hamburg or Munich, where you get the big Oktoberfest style, you get the people playing the music. If you had German music in a place, you could would run amok in the restaurant world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've
but
always thought about over here too, though. Like I, that's some one thing I miss is obviously Tim Hortons because I'm
yes, because
Canadian.
it's part of you because you lived in Canada. I know
Exactly.
I'm the same, but Tim Hortons coffee sucks compared to Germany's. Germany's coffee's way better.
I don't even mean like so much the coffee. I just mean like the kind of like that breakfast style place that you could go quick in the morning, like that has that North Americanish, like maybe
So
like a
you're
Tim.
not getting into the little sandwiches they make over there on the fresh bread? Because I used to walk to the rink in Helbron and I'd crush a couple little sandwiches on the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's not usually my. I don't like for me. I don't find that breakfast. Like I don't. I know that's weird. That to me, that's like a lunch. So
Oh, you got to get out there. You got to try it. You got to try it.
I've
Salami
tried
on a nice piece of on a nice bun, like with like a cucumber onion. I don't
little
know.
little croissant.
Yeah, yeah, I got into it. I did. It was hard to come back to Tim Hortons actually. It's weird though when you go somewhere and it becomes like home and then you just leave and then it's over, right? Like I've never been back to Germany since 2013 and I was there for 6 years, you know?
You got to make we should do a live podcast one day back in Germany. You can get all your buddies here. We can
Well,
call it the Shed 2.0.
I should be going to Renee's retirement game to have his jersey retired. He's invited me and I should be there for him. But I can't because I'm already going to Cardiff and a family trip and like I have a real job. So I have to like not take that many days off a year to
Hmm.
do all these hockey tournaments the kids are in, which where I'm supposed to be today. I did just get a text message. The fellas are up 5-0. Foomph
Awesome.
Newell. So good work, fellas.
Awesome.
Um, yeah. Wish I was there, but it sounds like a boring game, so I guess I'm okay not watching it, right? Anywho, do you know who was on your team that I won a championship with in Niagara? Tyler Gatto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we won together in Denmark. He's got some gold helmets.
Gatto. Yeah, he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Yeah, then I think he went straight over to Europe too and found his home in Denmark and won a few championships in Sunderjuski.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, you're right. He went right over and played
Yeah.
whatever it was, 5 or 6 years directly.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously I only played with him the first year, but he was like one of those guys when you go to college and I was 19, I think he was 24. So he felt like a man to me, like a real like pro, like he was in really good shape, had a great work ethic. Like one of those tough nosed guys and like a good
I
defenseman.
always
So
find it interesting the guys that like win the championships. Some of them are like borderline. Well, they're somewhat psychotic when it comes to the competitiveness. We would play like a 3-on-3 game at the end of practice, or we would do a shootout. And I
mhm.
have seen him like lose at something, and he would chuck his stick into the stands, like right to the top of the arena. Like he would throw a stick so far into the crowd after like a practice game. And I was like, geez, man, you took that one to heart. Like just having fun. But then he won like 3 championships in a row, right? So
Yeah, you need those guys on your team. He was definitely a fiery competitor to say the least.
yes.
And at the time when I went to Niagara, I had no idea how to be an athlete. Like I'd gotten away on my talent. I didn't know how to work hard, and I think that didn't sit well with him. So we had some moments for sure, but it was just him, I think, trying to teach me. But
Trying to help you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you got to get in younger guys' faces to really let them know, right? I never did it. I wasn't that type of guy, but I'd see other people do it. And they're actually doing it to help the guy because they care, right?
100%. And I think too, like it's just that difference of like how your experiences were. Like his junior experience would have been different from mine 6 years later. Like just kind of how things were.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
so
different for everybody. Yeah.
yeah. But just like, so he would have, when he was a rookie, probably in junior, guys would have been really hard on him. And whatever for that first year. And I think that's just kind of what was built into him. And
Yeah.
yeah, like he was,
No,
as I said, I think.
everybody gets raised up different too, right? It's like for me, I played in my hometown with all my buddies and we were just having fun and hockey was fun and we were winning and winning was fun. And we didn't really work out. We didn't do that stuff back in the day. And then I got to university and like you said, I didn't know how to be like an athlete. I was just really good at hockey in my hometown. And then you get there and they teach you how to be like an athlete and poof, there's some workouts,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
college workouts are
stigma.
something.
College guys can work out. They can lift.
Well, you can work hard, right? You do learn like you got to go to school. You got to do all that the baloney, the school stuff, and then you also have to do all the workouts they make you do, and then go perform on the weekends. There's not much time to like do what you want to do when you're in university. There's no you time.
Oh, I think I always had that like other perspective. Like, imagine being a normal student. Like, you can go drink every night if you want. You can go do whatever. You can have your classes all at 3 o'clock starting if
Yeah,
you wanted. Like, we obviously
you
didn't
did
because,
get to make up your own mind at a young age, right? You
yeah,
could get
yeah,
distracted probably.
yeah, exactly. So I guess we were structured. So I guess that maybe disciplined us a bit. But
But that is when you got your green light. She was full go when we were at Western,
oh,
Michigan.
yeah, yeah. No, it was a full day bender, Sunday fun days.
You get the green light in college. She is go time.
Yeah, triple green.
yeah. Yeah. That's it. You really become teams too, folks. You really get to know each other. That's when you become friends for life is the green lights.
Yeah.
yeah. So you did leave Niagara and I researched teams hot and we know a lot about hockey, we think. Is there were three goalies that played a bunch of games that last or the 1 year you were there. And there's three goalies getting games, and it's like I know how goalies are. You got to play. Hockey players want to play. And how did you make the decision then to leave and go to sunny Oswego? Because there you did play and you ran amok.
Yeah, I kind of got lucky, like where things weren't working out at Niagara. Like when I was recruited in Niagara, honestly, I think I was the fourth highest ranked goalie going into college that year. And like for that division, that was huge. Like I had played Team Canada before and as I said, I'd gotten away on my talent
And you'd won MVP or like it said
yeah, yeah, in
as
the
a goalie. Yeah, so that's you're
yeah.
you're you're coming in with a bit of a name. Yeah.
No, I felt like I was like obviously at the time I felt like I was ready. Looking back, I think I wasn't, but just I kind of what the coaches had in mind for me to be as a goalie, they wanted to change me, and I didn't really like that because I had had success on how I was playing. And then yeah, the 2 years or the 1.5 year I played, I didn't really feel like I ever got in a groove and that I was ever comfortable. And then honestly, a family from Burlington, uh, the dad's name was Mike Hare. Like I had played junior with his son, and he had just transferred from a D1 school to Oswego, and he had said that they lost a goalie at Oswego, so they only had two, and then one guy was hurt, so they had one goalie. One of their players had to dress the last game before Christmas break as a
So it could be a
goalie.
good situation.
Yeah, so it kind of was just like, hey, this could turn it. But I honestly went into Oswego being like, hey, I'm gonna play 2.5 years of college, like try to have fun and just get my degree, and then I'm done. Like I had no, everyone was telling me like you're done after, like you will not play pro.
Because you go to
And
D3,
yeah, and then
but then you win like every game.
yeah, we had a really good team. Like we should have been D1. My class, like if I'd been there all 4 years, we went to the Frozen Four every year. The last 2 years that I started, we lost in the finals both times.
Oh, yuck. To who?
First year was St. Norbert, and second year was Wisconsin Clare, I think. But
It's losing sucks those big games, eh?
it's not fun. I mean, especially when you feel like you have the team to win. So,
Yeah. And it's
but
just
yeah,
the one game playoff. Isn't series is way more fun?
I like series like college. I think it really, but I think it also shows like can you handle pressure because it's
Because
every
it's one
time
game.
you gotta bring your A game. And I remember my senior year, the quarterfinals, we had to go to Adrian, which was like a 10-hour bus ride, and it's playing a small rink in Michigan. And like we won in overtime. And I remember like you're thinking at sometimes during the game like, okay, like if they score, it's over. Like I'm done college. Like it's
Yeah.
so. Um,
Yeah, it's pressure. There's that's Hockey is pressure. Pro hockey, there's a lot of pressure. You know, when you look back on it nowadays, and like, you know, you go to work, you do the best you can, and you know, you get through another day. It's like hockey, there are moments, right, where it was like so much pressure that like when you see people get stressed out about stuff and worry about stuff, and it's like that's really not that much pressure. You just got to get her done. And it's like you do like a penalty shot in Castle, or you do a penalty shot or overtime or whatever it is. I used to hate penalty shots or like shootouts because you're like the whole arena is watching me right
Hmm.
now and like what's going on. And I'm like, if I score, it's great. And if I don't, then everybody's going to be looking at me skating to the bench like with my tail between my legs, you know?
Yeah, I know the feeling. To be honest, I think it's worse as a player. As a goalie, I loved it. I loved penalty shots, shootouts because I felt like it took all the other factors out of it. Like you could play a 2-on-1 perfectly, and the guy like gets a bounce off your defenseman skate and goes in, or like the rebound goes to the guy back door. Where like 1-on-1, it's like, okay, it's me versus you. He's
Yeah,
got to make his best move. You got to make your best save selection. So
it is. You're right. That part's cool. But I just, as a player, I'd rather play with all my teammates and try and score together than by myself,
you're
you
just a
know?
team guy.
Well, I don't know. I didn't like the shootouts. I didn't like whenever was watching me. I get nervous, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel it's a
But
lot of pressure.
if I had a breakaway in a game, I would feel fine because it's just happening. I didn't like
Yeah,
that skating around. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do now?
yeah. What move am I gonna use here?
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind taking a pelly shot on you, you know, just to see what's up.
We'll have to set it up.
I can hardly skate anymore, but it'd be fun. I just got to get back to Germany. It seems like you've set up shop there, eh? You ever come home?
Come home every summer because my visa, so like my work visa at the moment is only
Because
till
you
the end of
don't
the
have a
contract.
frau.
Not yet.
When
Soon.
you have a frau, then you'll be set up then.
Yeah. But no, like the plan is to stay here. Like we obviously like we own this place we have here and like been learning the language. So every year I come home less and less. So
Yeah, yeah, and then eventually you're gonna have little kids eating pretzels and wearing their lederhosen. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
speaking German, and
That's
they're
what they
like,
wear every day here.
yeah, and then they're like, yeah, my dad can speak English, right?
Yeah, it's
um,
Canadian.
yeah, no, it's a cool story though, right? It's like it's neat that my kids can tell people they were born in Germany and Wales, right? It's like there's not many people around here that have been, right? So
That's a trivia question for someone. You know,
yeah,
where was one of your kids born? And everyone's like, oh, probably Canada. And I'm like, no, fun fact,
yeah.
Germany.
No, but like that was a family pick I always wanted was everybody holding the flag of where they were born, and we finally did get it right near the start of all the baloney with COVID. But like my wife's American, I'm Canadian, and then we got a kid born in Germany and Wales, and I think that's unique, you know?
That's pretty awesome.
And that's hockey, right? It takes you some places, right? So
Beautiful
anywho,
game.
we're in sunny Oswego. Where's that?
Oswego, New York. So it's 30 minutes from Syracuse.
Oh, my old honey hole where I used to never play and I just sit on the bench with the fighters. Okay. Syracuse is a fun town though. Had some fun nights there.
Yeah.
Uh, I actually think I worked out with a guy that played at Sunny Oswego in the summers, but it would have been before your time. But that's a powerhouse D3 school, eh?
Yeah. Like when I was there, they had a brand new rink for like three or 4 years. Honestly, our whole team was guys who probably should have played D1, but they either didn't have the grades or just didn't want to have that commitment to being a
Yeah.
D1 athlete and just wanted to have fun and like go play hockey. So yeah, we were as I said, every year Frozen Four, um, top two teams in the division every year. It
So
was us
you
and Oxford.
lost in the finals and won MVP.
When in
It's in
college,
it says you were all tourney MVP. That's what the research team saw, but you didn't win.
I think it was. I think that was for the SUNYAC championship.
I
So
don't
like
know.
your division, I think that's what it was because I got a shout out the last game and I remember I got
Your
presented something.
your your goals against was 1.75 and 1.88, and your save percentages were 931 and 930 your 2 years there. And like I said, you only lost 9 games. It's running amok, eh?
I had a
So
good team in front of me.
so then after D3, then um people said you wouldn't go pro and you thought you were just going to college. So how do you end up in Morzine?
My best friend's dad uh played a long time in Europe, so he was always told me, hey, if you want
And
to play,
who's
like,
that? Who's that?
so my best friend's Josh Juris, played 4 years NHL and now plays in
Josh
Switzerland.
Juris?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's cool. You know why that's a small world?
Why?
First time we went to a Leafs Penguins game, and Tom Kuhnhackle's on the team from Landshut, Germany.
Yeah.
And I set it up with him through some old line mates that he's going to come up and meet my son after the game. And he brings a signed Penguins hat. And we're with all the Penguins' parents and families, like waiting after the game. Josh Juris played that game and he was called up. And what did I have? I had something to sign, my kid's jersey. And I was like, hey, can you sign the jersey for the kid? And he's like, oh, I don't think you want me to sign this. And I'm like, what? Like, who are you? And then I looked him up and like he had just been called up and was playing that night. But um, then I kind of followed him after because we got a picture together with my son and
Hmm.
he signed the jersey. And I was like, well, I like this guy. He seemed like a great dude. And then I followed him. So that's your best buddy is him.
Yeah. So we met each other when I moved to Burlington, played minor hockey the whole way through, and his dad was our coach. And as I said, when I was like ending college, like his dad was like, yeah, like go to Europe, like don't waste your time in the coast because like undrafted goalie, undrafted D3 goalie at the time, like you're gonna be a grind and you probably won't get chances. So I said okay, and he just was like emailing teams, and Morzine was a lower budget team, and I guess looking for a goalie, and he was able to swindle them into taking me. So
Well, that's pretty cool, man. That's a small world. That's weird. I didn't have research team, didn't find that one. But is Juris still playing? I saw he went to like the Swiss A League and stuff.
yeah, he plays there. So he has a Swiss player's license, so he's not an import. So
So he's gonna run amok there for years.
yeah, this is his fifth year, I believe, there. So he's still got some time there.
Yeah, and living and playing in Switzerland sounds and looks like a great time.
Yeah, I visited him once. He was on a different team before, but where they were living was something out of a catalog like Paradise. So
Yeah, yeah. What team does he play for? Do you know?
Geneva.
Mm,
So
yeah.
they finished first this year and they start playoffs next week. So
Well, I met him very briefly for a couple minutes, and I guarantee he doesn't remember. But you know, that stuff sticks with like a dad when you're taking your kid to an NHL game that the guy took time and took the picture with him. And yeah, tell him I want him in the shed. Okay.
I will tell him after. I'm probably gonna hop on the sticks with them here later today. So
Oh, what are you hitting on the sticks?
we're big NHL and Fortnite guys. So
Fortnite. I see my kid playing that.
yeah, that says it all right there.
No, but seriously, yeah, let him know that I did meet him in Toronto, Ontario. I was up meeting Kuhnhackle and he was there and had just played and was seeing some family, obviously, because it's game in Toronto and he's from around there then, right? So that's pretty neat though. That's small world hockey is, isn't it?
That's crazy.
Oh, God. Anywho. So you go to Morzine, yeah, what a time that is. Did you get into the fondue?
I certainly did have some fondue.
You can't really do a lot of it as a pro hockey player. So I was done hockey and all the fellas went out for dinners a couple nights. And then, you know, they're like, you can have this cheese fondue. And I tell you, I haven't felt so fat as after those meals. I was so bloated and fat, I could hardly move after eating all that fondue. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it's a lot of cheese, a lot of bread, and luckily, most times I did it. We had a day off the next day because I was not moving too fast.
No, you need a serious bowel movement after that. It yeah, it can really make you bloated, but it sure tasted good getting it down the hatch, all that bread and cheese, right? Good
Food in
stuff.
Europe is unreal. So
You're right. You're right. When I talk badly about French food, I'm not talking about the fondue and stuff like that, right? When I went to Paris, I wasn't that into the food, you know?
no,
No. So, anyways, you played 2 years there. You know who else I have written down from your time in Morzine is Peter Zabo. That guy was a skilled little centerman, eh?
Yeah, he had been there the year before me, and then I'd re-signed there, and it was kind of like our one of our veteran leaders. And yeah, he had played a long time pro. Obviously, I think he went to school to NCAA,
St.
and
Cloud State. The
yeah,
reason I know that is the research team got hot, but he played in Weisswasser, Germany,
right,
and I
right.
played against him. I was in Landshut, and then I switched to Bietigheim, and he takes my job in Landshut, and he goes from Weisswasser to Landshut. So we kind of had similar paths, and he was a player. I thought if me and him would have played together, we would have had fun.
Yeah, he was a good guy too, like a real professional, like again, just how I like had no clue still at that age. Like after games, like I'm quick as hell out of there, like trying to go upstairs, get food and leave, and he's going to the gym and doing his
Yeah.
after the
Oh,
game
really?
workout. So, oh yeah.
See, for me, it would be hang out in a room like for a really long time and pretend to be cooling down, but I just wanted to hang out with all the guys. And then I go up to the VIP room and run amok, right? And stay there like until they kind of like kicked me out, right?
But we've said this though, there's no like you would have had the experience of German culture slash chill in the cabine after, go to the VIP after. Like you had that at like the
Yeah.
beginning for a long time. Me, it was like France wasn't really like that. Norway definitely wasn't like that, at least on Mangard. And then when I went to Heilbronn, I started like, guys after
Mm.
every game going up there, get some food, maybe a beer or two. And then, so,
It's a nice thing, especially after a win. After a loss, you're like, oh, I don't really want to go up there and see people. I just
oh
want
my
to
God,
leave.
you hide.
Yeah, you don't want to talk to people after losing. Losing
No,
sucks. Yeah. So, anyways, Peter Zabo's a player. And you know what's funny is people told me at one point I had run out of people to talk to in my shed. I have so many people lined up. It's wild, right? And it's like that this would never end if I actually had time to do it all. But
Bryce is coming on soon, isn't he?
gosh darn right he is next Thursday.
There we go. I'm going to tune in for that one.
Oh yeah. That's like gonna be like his third or fourth time on. And like all I had done was get naked for him, right? That's the only reason we knew each other was I went back for my night in Cardiff and did the pregame speech and tried to let everybody know that hockey should be fun. Right.
Exactly.
And then we started a bromance. And I do really like Bryce and he's a good dude. So he's signed up just for this year or what?
Yeah. So we just needed and we lost for and another defenseman to help strengthen our decor. And Bryce, like I knew him, so it was an easy decision for me, and he was really willing to come over. And yeah, he's a great dude. Like really one of the nicest guys I've met. Very genuine and humble. So he's a
He
good guy to
really
have.
he really is. He's one of the nicest people in hockey and he's a shed guy. And that's what I like having on is like people that are recommended by other people. And the way you came on was because you were recommended by him. And I know he's a shed guy and shed guys know shed guys, you know?
There's gotta be something, whether it's a t-shirt or something or a hat. We gotta get the shed movement going.
Yeah, we got some. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I still got to come on your pod, and then you're gonna have to ask me all these tough questions, right? And we're gonna have to
And
have
I'm
fun.
definitely not, it's not gonna be as long as this one, that's for sure. I'm gonna run out of stuff.
I'm sorry. Well, I get
No,
talking, right? And I
that's
can't
not a
stop.
chirp. That's not a chirp. I'm just saying. Now you're gonna put me to shame.
Oh no, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, right? Okay. So Manglerud, that's where you first meet Bryce. Didn't look like the team was very good.
No, we were a low budget team. We only like that league. I think you can have 6 or 7 imports per team. We had two, me and Bryce, and then we had two Swedes. One was going to school, and the other one was working. So like, I don't know if you'd call them like full imports, like they were, but me and Bryce were the only ones not having to work or go to school. And
They did,
uh,
yeah, it's one of those lower budget teams in that league because I played against Stavanger, and
oh god,
that team there's no way they had guys working construction during the day.
we played them in playoffs. During the season, if we lost to them 7-1, that was a win.
Mhm.
And then in playoffs, like we had really good series. I had a really good series. We got swept, but like not no blowouts. So that was big for us that year. Like we weren't expected to make playoffs, and we ended up beating out a team that probably should have and made it. So that was a successful year. And Bryce, as I said, had a really good year. I think he was top 5 for D in scoring on eighth place team and probably second lowest budget in the league. So
And then you know them, right? And there's always a connection to how guys end up places, right? There's always a connection. It's guys knowing guys and knowing what they're about and knowing what they'll do for a team is how people get places, right?
yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I had played against Bryce Thayer before because he was in France, so he was in Brest and I was in Morzine, and I didn't remember him really from the team. Like it, like just like didn't really remember him as a player. And then when I saw him in Angler, I was like, okay, like this guy's like can play. And I think he started. It's hilarious. He was a defenseman. I think he started the year like 4 for 4 on shootout goals. Like he every
Oh,
shootout would go and just would have his two moves that he would do, and every time it would work. It was pretty crazy.
I've actually never really seen him play. I just know who he is as a person, and he's a great dude, and he's a good teammate and a good guy. And you talk around your shed, and you know who the good people are in hockey. He seems like the type of guy you want on a squad, you know?
100%.
Hmm. But yeah, every year it's a different thing, right? For every hockey player, you have to choose where you're gonna play, who you're gonna sign with, but it's also like you have to know where you're going and you have to have the opportunities, right? And how you play gives you the opportunities to either make more money on different teams or you're begging to go back to where you are, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's pros and cons I would say of the business, because there's also like the pro can be you could get rewarded like Bryce. You obviously went to Alberg after, I'm assuming, for more money, like on a better team, like they were first that year. Um, and then there's other guys like myself. I still had to grind, so like Hellbron, like that didn't come till December the next year, even though I played well in Mangaroot. But everything happens for a reason. I think everyone's path is kind of different for a reason, and it kind of shows like what you're capable of and who you are.
Well, it does. Everybody's path is different. And like you found a home in Germany and you're right into hockey in every single way. And the German hockey world, once you get into that and you know all the people, it's a good world to be in.
Exactly. If you had told me, when I was playing here my first year that I would stay here, meet someone, and get married, I wouldn't have believed you, because I just thought it was another stop on the road and stuff like that. But yeah, as you said, everything happens for a reason.
Now you're assistant coach, goalie coach, assistant sport manager. I mean, who knows where you can take this, right? But anyways, after Manglerud, better keep going. Jeepers creepers. We're almost done. I promise. Okay. I know you probably got stuff to do. Is your season still going?
Yeah, we start. We're in playdowns, unfortunately, but we start that on Wednesday.
Play down. So you guys got to stay in the second league then?
Yeah. So we
How many
play. We
teams are
actually
in
play.
this?
So it's four. So we play. We actually play. Funny enough, Hellbron. Um. So it's we play Hellbron best of seven, and then who's the other one? Bayreuth plays. Who's Bayreuth play? Krimichow. Best of seven.
And then whoever loses plays another best of seven.
Yeah, and then whoever
And if
loses
you
that
win,
goes
you're
down.
done.
Yeah,
If you win this best of seven against Hellbron, then the fellas get after it, right? Stay in the second
yeah.
league.
That's the reward.
Yeah, yeah. I was in the playdowns one year in Bietigheim, and I never played. It's when I had hernia surgery, but I was watching it and I was like, this is weird, right? Like you're playing just to stay up, and it's weird because in Bietigheim, you knew even if we stayed up, they weren't going to ask many of us back anyways. A lot of that ships had sailed. But they want us to stay up so bad. And it's like, but we know you don't want us back. So that's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely. I my first year Hellbron, we went playdowns and we won the first round against Rosenheim, and they ended up getting relegated that year and haven't been back since. But I would say like it's crazy, and it's honestly the party. We had a huge party on the ice after winning. It was like we won the championship. Like the whole rink was on the ice drinking with us. Like it was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's all about the different spot you're in of how the fans take it. And sounds like you guys how do you match up with Hellbrand then? You played them
Um,
much this year?
yeah, like you play everybody 4 times. So I think they beat us 3 times this year. But Hellbron is their team with strong imports and a good goalie. We also have good goalie and imports. So I think it's gonna be a really good series, to be honest.
I don't know who's on Hellbrand these days, but It's interesting talking around with people back in Germany again, right? It's been so long, and when you get asked to leave, you kind of get sour a bit, and then like I start this, and a lot of it's been in the UK. A lot of it has been that, and that's where most of my listeners are. Maybe it's because I got topless in a crowd one day. I don't really know. But they are very passionate about their players. Maybe it's because I speak English and they listen to English, right? And maybe in Germany nobody's going to listen, and maybe I will never be number one, but I sure want to try, right?
I
But
think you're going to be up there. I only did one episode and I was number 7 the other day. I don't know how that's possible, but for a
really,
hockey podcast,
you did
yeah.
one episode and you were ranked number 7. See, I when I started, I didn't even know how to check. I didn't even know if I was doing good. I didn't know anything about anything. And then I Googled it one day and it was like, you're ranked here, and you're no, and I was like, what? Yeah,
I only
cool.
know because the one website that like helps promote it, like they message me, like they send you like your weekly
So what do
updates,
you
like how many
make
people
yours on?
download your episode.
How do you
Well,
make
I
yours?
signed up on Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout. So I just Googled how to make a podcast and I ended up on Anchor, it's called, and they were like with Spotify. But you just drag the file
Okay.
over and you just send her, that's all we're gonna do here. Just drag the file over and send her.
Yeah. So,
Well,
well, that's
that's cool.
good.
You're
Like
ranked number
you're
7. We'll see
obviously
what
I'm
happens. I'd like to try. I like winning. I like trying to win. I don't really like losing. It's not really that much fun. But um, there's a whole market of German fellas that I haven't talked to, and part of it's because the teams asked me to leave, and my own competitive spirit just got pissed off for a lot of years, right? Maybe I should grow up and cheer
it's
up,
the
right?
competitor in you.
Yeah, I got issues, right? So now I got to try and win, and I'm going to get all the fellas back, right? And I guess
Perfect.
your podcast wants to compete with me then if you're number 7.
I'll be an affiliate. I'll be your AHL affiliate.
So, well, if you're already ranked number 7, I think the highest we've ever been in Germany was 4th. Um, so that was neat. But I plan on trying to win, right? You may as well, right? If you're gonna do something, you may as well try and win. So
Yeah.
when do sport managers sign their contracts? Because I know in Germany everything happens really early. You sign players really early. I had been signed, say, come January. If you weren't signed for the next year, that's when players like almost start getting nervous. They're like, geez, they don't want me because they've already signed so and so and so and so. And I know that because they're my buddies and they told me, right? It's like, when does a sport manager sign a contract for the next year? Or should I ask that or no?
Well, I like when I signed last year, I signed a 2 year and
So
then
you're
had an
there for
option
another
for a
year.
third.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
That's a
so
pretty
yeah,
good
but it
start, eh?
kind of like you though, like when I played, I never knew about that stuff. Like in Germany, I think that's more common where you sign guys for next year like really early. And I didn't know about that because I was just
Even
like the
for
new
other
goalie and
teams,
stuff.
even for other
Yeah, yeah.
teams, craziness.
Switzerland's like that too. It's insane. Like
It
guys
is
in
insane.
November have signed contracts for the next year with someone else, and it's like, well,
For
okay, cool.
multi-year
Thanks for
deals for a
being here.
team. Yeah, and you're going to play the rest of the year on that
Yeah.
team and they know you're not going to be there. Yeah, it is bizarre.
Hmm. It's very weird. I can't imagine the NHL did that. Like, imagine like
Imagine.
you know,
Imagine going into the
like
playoffs and you're like, so Ovechkin has already signed a 5-year deal with them and he's just playing out these playoffs and leaving. And then it becomes public and the fans and everybody knows. And then you still have to play playoffs. It's crazy.
mhm.
Yeah.
Europe's different.
So that's my tale is when I'm in Landshut, we're going into the playoffs and we have a team that finished second and we have a good squad and we're there. We almost won it. Going into those playoffs, they bring in Andreas Geipel. I show up for a practice and they got all these news cameras and all these people interviewing him. And somehow it became public. He was switching from Landshut to Bietigheim the next year. And all the fans knew the rest of the playoffs. Everybody knew. And he had already signed. And then I'm going into the finals of the second league in Germany. And both teams we had put out had offered me contracts. And I'm literally trying to decide if I'm switching teams going into the finals of the playoffs.
Mhm.
Tough timing, right? You're like, I'm trying to win a championship. And then you got other teams offering you contracts. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's a different world over here in the professional sports business.
Yeah, but unions and all that stuff can make things complicated too, right?
Guess so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works. So, anyways, we better keep going. Helbron, you played a year and a half there, right? And you did really well. And then you did go into relegation, and you said they celebrate on the ice, but you had a 1.52 goals against a 955 save percentage, just so you know, in case you didn't know. Just let you know, you ran amok in those relegation
Heard
games.
that rumor.
Okay. So, anyways, the next year you start in Helbron again, but then you go to Kongsvinger, Norway for 10 games played to a team that looks absolutely brutal.
Yeah, so things didn't work out for me in Heilbronn the second year. I didn't really start that well. And then when I started to find my game, they had kind of already moved on. So then I was kind of not in the right mindset, and I was like, "Yeah, I just need to play." So I'll go back to Norway, and Kongsvinger needed a goalie. Um, and again, one of those teams where basically everybody worked, so we weren't very good. Met some great guys there, some guys I still keep in touch with today. But
That's cool.
yeah, it was tough there too. Like no matter how good you played, you were giving up, at least 4 goals a night, 5 goals a night, and then yeah, I'm sure you have in your notes there. I finished in Garmisch that year, so at the deadline, they were looking for a goalie as insurance, and I said, yeah, I want to get back to Germany so bad. So I went and got pretty fortunate, but it was also unfortunate for the team, I guess. Like their number one goalie got hurt in the semis, so I had to go in and I played the rest of the semis, won the series, and then played the finals against Bietigheim. Unfortunately, didn't win, but good way to end the season because it was definitely
No,
an up and
that
down season.
and yeah, and that you won the semis and got to play in the finals. And in case people are wondering how it went, you played in 7 playoff games. You had a 921 save percentage. It's okay. So you lost to
Average.
Bietigheim though, eh?
They
Gosh
had a
darn
good
it.
team, so yeah. And honestly, Garmisch was they went bankrupt after that series and went down to the Oberliga. So like no joke, kind of like you, like where you were explaining the Hellbron thing. Like we had our like leading scorer like playing with a broken stick in the finals because we couldn't buy any new ones because we were running out of money, and like I couldn't figure out why. But then after like we found out, and
Oh my God.
so yeah, it
German
was kind of,
hockey, when it comes to that stuff, man, is something else. It really is. Like you're in the finals to win it all. And like Garmisch, what a sweet place to go play though, eh?
it was awesome. I lived in
It's
a
like the
hotel.
nicest place in the world.
Yeah, like it was like another Morzine in a sense. But yeah, I lived in a hotel.
Yeah, you lived in some nice places, eh?
Yeah, my parents have been lucky for me because they get to travel to these places. So.
Right. It was the same with when my parents would come over and they're like, geez, we would have never done all this and gone to see all the stuff if you wouldn't be playing hockey over here. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
it is neat.
no, it was good. I look back at that, like I think you would say the same, like how fortunate we were to travel and get paid to do something we love. And like, yeah, it wasn't NHL or wasn't like top Swiss league or something like that in terms of money, but it still was great experiences. You meet great people and you have a great time.
Garmisch brings back a memory for me. I really liked their barn. I always enjoyed the matches there. But there was one time where we were playing, I think it was with Landshut. We were winning 7-0 in their arena, and they were still giving people beers and glasses in the crowd, and they didn't like how their team was playing. So near the end of the game there, they started throwing their glasses onto the ice and they were smashing all over the ice. And like I was out there and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Uh, I didn't have glasses, but like I've had pennies thrown at me like during games, like they're throwing coins, so you like have to step on them and stuff. Like
Yeah. Can get
German hockey
heated.
is different. Like
It is different.
they're passionate fans. They got that football or in English or soccer mentality and
Yeah.
soccer fan mentality.
It's a different fan base than like I find Canadian fans are really boring. You go to games in Canada or North America, and like, they cheer when there's a goal, or they go ooh when it almost goes in, or they go ah. It's
Yeah.
like they're not into it. They're not into it like German fans. German fans got their tops off, they got flags going, they're chanting, they're singing, they're dancing, and then when you score, they're feeling it.
Yeah. Well, it's also, as you said, like different mentality. Like the German fans, like the 1 day a week they have the home game, and then some of them who travel, like they're not going to those games to just watch, and like they're going to get hammered and to basically have a party and be cheering and loud. So like they're drunk, like throwing beer everywhere, like just
Mhm.
screaming. So it's a crazy atmosphere, but as a player, you love it.
Yes, that's what hockey is all about. When you see fans doing all that just because you're playing hockey, you're like, gosh darn it, this is cool. This is hockey, right? But the after the game stuff, there's some cool stuff where you do with the fans after a win, where you go out and you do your stuff. But
Mhm.
then how do you feel about the snake around the ice where you grab the guy in front of you's ankles and the whole team goes around like a snake and the crowd is chanting like whatever, and it's like, I feel stupid doing this and I don't feel like this is cool.
I mean, it's their tradition, so I try to embrace everything they did. I think the snake we only did 3 or 4 times in my career. Like most times it was we would all line up at center. They would yell at whoever the player of the game was, and he'd come do the wave thing, and then that would get
Yeah.
it going. But
No,
like
and
I
that
like that.
that part's awesome. I find when the crowd decides who's the player of the game, like it's not the teams, it's not the league, it's the fans are standing there, and then all of a sudden you stand there as a team and they start chanting someone's name, and that means you ran amok that night and you get to go to the fans, and it's a cool moment for a player, right?
Yeah, and normally the prize too of being player of the game, you get a keg of beer or a case of beer. I mean, that's
That's
always
hockey, right?
well earned as well.
Yeah. And it's a whole different hockey culture, right? Like now in Canada, you win player of the game, you'd probably get protein shakes, a foam roller, and maybe some like shooting classes and maybe some extra hockey schools. That's, I find the fun of hockey is not the same in Canada as it used to be. I'm trying to bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, we have to change those traditions soon.
Right. Well, things are getting a bit too serious, and I plan on stopping that shit. Right. I'm coaching minor hockey when it's supposed to be fun, Nobody's
Yeah,
even making money yet. All we're doing is spending money.
that's what it's
Different.
all about, though.
It
Fun.
is what it's all about. And that's what hockey's supposed to be. And you're having fun, aren't you?
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
And
I'm
you're
happy
still
that.
in the game, man. You're still in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Even when you have some tough days, it's remembering, this is on the right road or right path to get to where you want to be. Like my goal one day is to be a GM or sport manager in Germany, or even go back to Canada or something. Like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you know, 32 years old, still young enough, so it's just a long road, and you just got to pay your dues and work your way up.
Well, you just got to follow your passion and give her. And if that's what you want to do, I mean, you're doing all the right things. You're learning the language. You're you're doing everything the organization needs, and you're becoming one of those people that when people ask around, they're like, well, that guy does everything. He'll do anything. He just wants to help, and he's a good teammate. And I think those are the people that go places in hockey, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, we're Garmisch. Then you went to Dagendorf, right? 4 games played, whatever, couple weekends. Um, there was a Cardiff Devil on that team. It looks like Josh Britton. Is that right?
Yeah, he was one of the imports there. I mean, as you said, I was there. I was on that one of those tryout things.
Yeah,
So
quick one.
didn't work out there.
But then you end up with the Ice Baron of Helbron in the
Yeah,
German fourth league with Stefano and the fellas.
yeah. Leo Krebs was there too. Didn't you play with him somewhere?
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you know that?
I think I looked at your elite prospects and I was seeing if there was any guys you played with.
Leo,
I
yeah.
Like
He
he was
mixed up.
there.
He mixed in a couple games with the Steelers when I was there, but
Yeah.
but like he was also from Bietigheim, so he was like one of the junior players. Like I knew all the fellas, right? Like I was part of the community. I was there for 4 years, so yeah, I know
Yeah.
Leo. Yeah, him and Shrimpsy and Willie Big, Willie Gross. They're my fellas. Yeah,
Yeah. Shrimpy, I played with Ice Baron, and then I
you
think
played
that's
with
it.
Shrimpsy too.
Yeah.
He was the guy that I've seen got hit the hardest like ever in hockey ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever. So he was like a 19-year-old that like he might not have been ready for like a pro game. And this was when our budget started going down and we didn't have the depth like Bietigheim used to have. And they put him in an exhibition game like when he was 18, 19, and he wasn't ready. And boy, oh boy, did that boy get hit. Oh, jeepers. He wasn't ready for that.
Mm.
No. So Shrimpsy, you remember it. And we also had a lot of fun together. And we were teammates for a couple years. And yeah, there's so many people you can talk to in your shed, you know?
Yeah, for sure. The hockey world is small. But yeah, like playing with those guys was good. It was fun. Like I was starting to do coaching then, so goalie coaching and also like working with Bietigheim, like as assistant coach and stuff. So it was good to rotate both and play there as well and stay active. And they're that whole team.
Stay in the game, yeah.
That whole team was just like great guys. Like,
So
you
the
know,
shed hasn't had a love story in a while. How did you meet your what's not a frau? What's it called again? What's a fiance?
Felopta.
Falota. How'd you meet her?
So I brought it up before, her twin that had dated Stefano before. She was at the time dating the other goalie on the Falcon when I was there. So that's how
She was dating your goalie partner?
yeah.
She was dating your goalie partner, and then she saw you do the butterfly,
No, that
and then she was like, "Whoa, look at this guy, butterfly." No,
no, that her twin sister was
oh,
dating. I know. No, that so the twin was dating my goalie partner, and she was her name's Leah. She was single, so uh, you know, met her through the goalie partner. Worked my way in there. So
yeah, yeah. So you did have a good relationship with your goalie partner. I was thinking it was the opposite. I got you.
no, he was good. We were really good guys. He was a beauty.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and it's neat that you're living around the same areas like I know of, right?
Yeah. So when I talk about this area, there's probably a lot of places you'd be like, oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I had a
Oh,
meal
yeah,
there.
you're right. You get into saunas yet? I was a big sauna guy in that area of the world.
I only do like when we go out like at the gyms and stuff, like after a workout, you go like have a sauna. So
See, I'm right into it. Big sauna guy.
they're a lot
Take,
different over here
uh,
than back home.
you're right about that. Yeah, they're co-ed, right, folks?
Go ahead and no bathing suits, folks.
Naked, folks. Co-ed, naked. Yeah, everybody gets to see what everybody's working with in the town, right? You go work out, and then you sit there naked together, and then you get on your clothes. And nudity is not the same in Germany as it is here, right?
No, it's not a big deal over here. It's the
No.
way
Oh,
of life.
in Canada, you see a nipple, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a nipple," and it's like, yeah, well, um, there used to be, people just hanging her out right in the sauna with, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
not a big deal, just skin, right? It is interesting to see sometimes, though.
Yeah, I mean, my first
Yeah,
experience was I went in with a bathing suit and realized pretty quick that that wasn't the dress code. So
no, that's not what we're doing here. That's not the culture. No, that's
yeah,
not. I remember when we would have Monday Fun Days, and then my boy Dirk Robel, whose jersey is also retired of Bietigheim, he was the one that taught me how to sauna. And he was like, "Come with me. Let's get this hangover over with right now." And you'd go in the sauna and sweat it all out. And then you're like, "Oh, so I feel normal again. I just needed a 10-minute nap after, and now I'm normal." And I'm like, "That's cool." Right.
the secret.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Anyways, I better shut it down soon, eh? We could talk for a while. I just met you. I still got to come on your podcast.
I know we got to save some of the stories for mine so I can get some views here. Yours
Like,
might
you're gonna
be
have to
taking all the
ask me the
stories.
questions, but yeah, like then we're gonna be competing and we'll see who's number one, right?
Well, I think it'll be you.
I don't think so. You were ranked number 7. I've only been up there. You live there, man. You speak German. So are you gonna do podcasts in straight German?
No, I'm not that confident. Uh,
No.
maybe in a couple of years, if this thing continues, when I have the
I think
comfortability,
you could
then
be number 1 in German or in Germany if you start talking German with players and you're like the guy over there speaking German with players and you're a Canadian. I think that'd be cool. I can't do it. I know I
maybe,
can't,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, I got to work my way. But
It is fun
there's
competing though, isn't
obviously,
it? It's fun competing.
yeah.
But it's
I
also
mean, I
fun
wasn't
just having
competitive, but
fun,
now that I saw him, yeah, I'm not very competitive with it because it's just new. But now that I saw him number 7, I'm like, oh,
right?
got to get top 5. So
Right? No, and it's weird because I had lost I had lost everything competitive in my life. I didn't really have anything that really got my juices flowing. And then this when like you do one and like for me, I still don't do it for the listens. I still don't do it to try and be number 1. I do it with people I think are good people in hockey that are recommended, that people I want to talk to. And but then when you see it happen, it's cool to see the like that you can do it if you want to, but it's like I'm not going to change what I'm about and who I'm having on just for the rankings, but it is neat when you see it, right?
yeah, for sure.
But then sometimes you got to
So
go on a bender with some German fellas and try and be number 1, right? You got to I may as well try and do this. If I'm going to do it, I may as well put my best foot forward and try and be number 1, right?
if you're gonna do it, you might as well 100%.
Right.
Put
And I
100% in.
I only played 6 years there, folks. I actually don't know that many people. I just don't have that much time, but I feel like I should do this. And I wish I could do one every day and then just do it, but I can't because I have like other stuff to do.
You have real life, real world.
A job, coaching, parenting, all the others, that
You're
stuff.
busy. You're a busy guy.
I try to be. I get bored easily now, right? Being a hockey player, you can be bored you could be good at being bored,
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're used to boredom as a hockey player. You put your 3 hours in every day, and then the rest of the day is
And then you're like, what do I do today? And then you're gonna hit the
yeah,
sticks,
exactly.
right? With Juris that's signed a jersey in my kid's room right here. That's neat, right?
I'm gonna tell him about this. I'm gonna tell him, hey, gotta get on the shed. The
No,
shed
you,
is
you
calling you.
you have to tell him. You have to send it to him and say, listen, this guy knows who you are. And yeah, I know I have a soft spot for people that do that stuff. It's like I say to people, if you don't have time for kids and fans, I don't have time for you in my shed. But if you do, I'll find time. We'll do it,
A good rule.
It is a good rule. And Josh Juris does have time. And I thought it was pretty neat to be there. And then to ask him to sign my jersey, he's like, are you sure you want me to be the one to sign it? I'm like, yes.
That's just one of his humble answers, making
Right?
sure that
It
you're
is.
100%
And
bought
I'm,
in.
I'm like, you're playing in the NHL. You just played for the Pittsburgh Penguins and you're saying I don't want your autograph? You're funny.
Yeah.
It would be something I'd say.
Yeah.
Right? But no, yeah, tell him when you're hitting the sticks, kicking the shit out of him in Fortnite or NHL, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely pass along the message.
Well, keep on the path you're on, man. Hockey needs good people that know what they're doing. And you know what? So does German hockey. There's some confusing shit that goes on over there that if they really wanted my opinion about, I don't think there'd be some happy people with what I said about some things. But I did love my time in Germany. I love the people there. I love the fans. I love the food. Um, and I I did love my time in Germany. I wanted to stay. And yeah, I miss everybody over there. And takes everyone to win. So I'm gonna keep having Germans on and we're gonna try and win. We're gonna try and beat this new hockey podcast called Pro Hockey Pod, right?
Yeah, we'll have a good competition going forward. But
Yeah.
you know, I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing. You've been doing it for a while and it seems you're having a lot of fun doing it. And as you said, fun is all that matters. So
Enjoying your life and enjoying every day. It's like the days I lock one down on a Monday, and it's like my Mondays is going to be as good as my Saturday now because I love this that much. And it's like all of a sudden I found a way to make my Monday as good as my Saturday. And it's like, huh, that's a recipe for success, you know?
exactly.
Yeah. And I get to be competitive again,
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
not a bad thing either.
It's not. And fun is fun. Winning's fun. And well, I'll see you in your shed, eh?
Yeah, I'll get you on here soon.
Yeah, you
But
just have a few hats to wear before. You just let me know. I'll find the time because you seem like the type of guy I want in hockey, okay?
appreciate it.
And this has been another episode of Two L's and Hockey Tales with Harry and Wally.